it's a great movement with the startup space right now for bitters, and I call them complex simple syrups and things like that. And it's great to see. We work with several companies in the bitter side of the business, simple syrups, and we want to stay focused on what we're doing, but we're really excited to help these folks kind of drag them along with us, into customers and make introductions. And the better we can make that set for home entertainment, the better off we're all going to be. And so we look at that side of the business as very collaboratively, so that we can work with them and work, with 3 different companies on a cocktail ingredient. We're actually looking at working and partnering with some companies on gift sets now, gift boxes, that some of the smaller companies have been very successful at doing. As far as flavors, we're always trying to be innovative. Heat is, a big thing right now. Our jalapeno margarita is doing fantastic. Our sriracha that we launched last year is becoming one of our top-selling SKUs. So we see that direction as being very important and critical in our business right now. And one of the things that we hope to achieve in the next 6 months or so is to be able to squeeze our own juice and press, some of our ingredients. And it's just a constant, improvement cycle for us. And trying to balance our price point and, margin migration as we get bigger and bigger, is the challenge. Because we want to keep that price point that our customers consider best in the trade, but it's also a value add because we don't want to go above a certain price point.
Well, we've focused on very simple things, and that's been our purview. Flavors tend to get very, very busy, would be what I see. I see a lot of flavors that have 2, 3, 4 different flavors, and that's been, I guess I would say that's the classic juice. Outside of the traditional orange juice, we've always seen kind of everything's a juice blend. It has many, many things. And a lot of people are doing that in craft cocktails. There's nothing wrong with that. We take a different approach. We really focus on very simple, clean, kind of single flavors. And because we think that when you're talking about the cocktail space, at the end of the day, should mostly be about the spirit. And the mixers are supposed to sort of, in our opinion, highlight, pair with, marry with the spirit. And so we're not trying to overpower. So I think consumers more and more are going to be looking for just simple, clean, high-quality mixers, not necessarily a ton of different flavors all in one bottle. Then what are you tasting? You get back to the Long Island iced teas, the drinks that people were drinking maybe a long time ago that the craft cocktail movement was, I guess, getting away from, I think.
Styles of cocktails that are in demand, I think people just want something that's new, that's, if you will, farm to bottle. We put a classic cocktail name on each of our bottle so the consumer can identify with it. For example, Tom Collins. Tom Collins is basically a sour with soda water. So in that form, there are many different styles of Collins. So we're helping to create a unique cocktail in that we're adding elderflower, elderberries, centennial hops for bittering agent, and making it something that you can make a Tom Collins at home, but now you know what it is, you can relate to it, and now it becomes unique because of the additional flavors and techniques that we use to make it.
I would say probably the highest demand category-wise in mixers is probably bitters right now. I think in the last 5 years, you've had a lot of little micro guys jump into the bitters game and join a couple of the big national brands. And what they've done is they've diversified. Instead of just doing aromatics and orange, you're now seeing chocolate and cardamom and grapefruit and lavender as regular bitter flavors that people can then use to enhance cocktails with. So I'd say bitters is probably the lead. After bitters, you get into concentrates and whether it's a tonic concentrate or a ginger beer concentrate or even a grenadine, which is essentially concentrated pomegranate. So all natural concentrates are really strong. And something I've started to notice movement on is shrubs, which are vinegar-based syrups that allow more tangy tart to go with the sweet. And I think the underlying note to all of that is savory over sweet. I see a big movement in the American palate, especially through cocktails, where a lot of American cocktails 5-10 years ago were all sugar, fruit, sweet bombs, and now they're going much more savory. Bitters are savory, fresh citrus is savory, spice is savory, and the American palate, I just think, in many ways, both food and drink-wise, is moving towards savory as opposed to sweet.
I think in general, it's just really this, fresh, innovative craft mixtures with the new flavors. People are trying. It's not exciting to reinvent a margarita mix, but we're seeing a lot of new syrups and these elaborate bitters and smoked mixers and all these really new spins on craft cocktails. And I think the retailers are paying a lot of attention to it. We've seen a lot of mass market supermarket chains who are actually carving out sets for craft cocktail mixers, which says a lot for the category, I think.
For us, we focus specifically on tropical syrups and then sort of some base syrups like cinnamon, vanilla, things that you need all the time. What we see being most popular, and hands down our most popular syrup, is falernum, which is, in a bar setting, the hardest possible syrup to make. Ginger, clove, vanilla, and so many spices and levels that you have to work with. And so the more complicated the syrup often, or the more difficult it is to get the good ingredients like passion fruit, which we bring straight from Ecuador, those are the syrups that end up being the most popular. Getting a high quality ingredient or a high quality syrup based out of those ingredients is 10 times harder to make yourself.
For us, it's the normal flavors, so tonic water and ginger beer, but done really, really well. People are looking to mix better tonic water with better gins and better ginger beers with better vodkas. Our stuff is less sweet than Schweppes and Canada Dry and Polar and kind of the mainstream mixers, but tend to be less sweet than the other craft sodas mixers. And what that does is sugar is a masking agent often, and the less sweet profile lets you actually taste the subtleties in these better spirits, whether they be craft or whether they be super premium. The great ones have a lot of subtle qualities that consumers want to drink and want to taste, and our stuff enables you to mix with that stuff.
Well, ginger is becoming huge. You're seeing it everywhere. I mean, everyone and their uncle's making ginger beer or calling something ginger beer. But ginger beer traditionally is actually brewed in a brewery. And our recipe from 1905 is a traditional brewed ginger beer. So it's kind of interesting because I think a lot of people are focusing on ginger as a flavor as opposed to what is the authentic practice of making ginger beer. And at Fentimans, we've been making ginger beer since 1905, and we make it today the same way it's been made for over 100 years. So I think a lot of people are we're catching on the bandwagon, if you will, on the ginger flavor. And I think that people are getting more and more educated on, what truly is a ginger beer. And it's exciting for us because, we've kind of just been doing our thing, and people are now really discovering us and realizing, oh wow, that's what a ginger beer is supposed to taste like.
Highest in demand, ginger. Everything ginger people are really liking. And what I found really works well is when you mix something that's a little bit familiar with something that's new and exciting. So we have our Sriracha Margarita, which blends those two things together. We have our Maple Whiskey Sour, our Spiced Old Fashioned. Just taking something that's a little bit familiar and then adding a new twist to it is what we find people really like.
I personally think that the fresh juice is a very important component for flavor. I think that people are branching out from the idea of a traditional margarita and going more for flavor profiles that might be similar. So, for example, we do a pineapple lime, which is made with cocktail bitters. And there's just a lot of different ways to use it and different spirits that you can pair it with to create drinks that could be similar to a margarita but have a little bit more flexibility.